Welcome to RiciP-FC, guys. In this video, I'm going to go through some J-League youngsters for the future to pick up. Some have a lot of data on them, some don't have as much. I've gone basically on rumours and talk in the J-League 1 sphere. First player, Jinya Nakano, is a right midfielder, plays for Segan Tosu. He's under 23 until 2026 and he's contracted till 2024 January. Limited is at £4.30, his rare is at £59. Now, he's not been playing as much, but he is one that's being talked about as being a good player for the future. As you can see, played Cam 79 minutes there, got an assist. He also got 2 decisives there as well, playing for Segan Tosu. If we go and look in more detail, he started 5 of 14, and only averaged 39 minutes per game, but he still got a goal and 2 assists in that time. His average passing, I look for about 75% plus, is at 83%. And his successful dribbles, which I think sets him apart from a lot of the people I've chosen this series, is 89%. That's one of the highest I've seen, which means he's very capable of taking people on and making things happen. I think he will do better this season, and I'm hoping he gets a chance in the starting lineup. Next player, Jinya Nakano. Jinya Nakano is a left and central mid defender. His limited's at £5.52 and his rare is at £55 on average. Again, not someone who's playing as much as what he possibly could, but he's very young still, only 19 years of age, so just to be in the first team is an achievement. He will be under 23 until 2028 and he's contracted until 2025 with Segan Tosu. If we look at his stats in more detail, we can see he started 13 of the 19 that he played, averaging 60 minutes per game. In this time, he got 1 goal and that was inside the box. His touches average 50 per game, which is quite good. Accurate passing is at 83%. And he kept 4 clean sheets in the games that he did play. His successful duels leave something to be desired, but as a youngster and someone to buy for the future, I think he could be a good option. Next player, Hata. Very cheap option, not much data on Hata. £1.38 for his limited, £25 for his rare. His L40 is at 37, which shows you he's not playing too much at the moment. But he's 20 years of age, and this makes him under 23 until 2026, and his contract is till 2024 January. He's a left or right midfielder, but as you can see, to say so cheap, he is putting in some decent scores here and there despite not playing that much for the team. But as you can see down here, 66, 60, 60s, getting decisives despite not playing too much. Good one for the future. If we look here, we can see started 11 of 18 games, 63 minutes per game. He didn't get any goals, but he got an assist in this time, and his big chances created were 2. He's averaging 40 touches per game, and his passing accuracy is 75%, which is what we look for. His duels aren't anything to write home about. Plays for Shannon Belner. I think he's a good option to look for the future, being this age. And in the J-League sphere, with the research I've been doing, people talk about him as being a good one for the future. Next player, Chima Fujita. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing these names wrong in the comments, and please correct me because I like to know. I am doing my best though. He plays for Yokohama F Marinos, but his contract actually runs out this month, the end of this month. So be an interesting one to see if he gets a new contract or if he moves somewhere else. Again, in the J-League sphere, someone touted being a big player for the future. He's under 23 until 2026, being only 20 years old. You can pick his limited up for £12, his rare for £144. And as you can see, his scores are okay considering he's so young and he's not starting all of his games. He put 100 in there, 64 all-round game, and 33 there. He's got a very good all-round game. He's doing your dirty work in midfield as a defensive midfielder, winning the duels, distributing the ball. If we look here, we can see he started half of the games he's played, averaging 53 minutes per game, but he did manage to get into the team of the week in that time. He scored 1 goal and assisted 1. He's averaging 47 touches per game, and his passing is on the higher side with 89% overall. 87% in the opposition half, which is very good. That means he's making things happen in their half. He's pushing up the pitch as well as coming back and defending. Interceptions per game are at 1.1, and his successful dribbles and duels are on the lower side of 50%, but still nothing to turn your nose up at. For 20 years old, I think Jinya Fujita is one to look at for the future. Next player. Jiro Nakamura. A cheaper option at £1.99 for limited, £61 for his rare, and he's an under 23 until 2028, being only 19 years of age. Plays for Gamba Osaka, and he's contracted there until 2026. He's a central attacking midfielder who is also working at breaking into the starting lineup. He is in the first team, but he's been making mostly sub appearances. Based off of the research from reading, he is someone considered to be potential future wonder kid in the future. Again, not a lot of data on him, but we'll look through here anyway. Started 5 of 9, 49 minutes per game, and his passing is at 76% on average. Really, that's all there is I can tell you about him, but just based off what I've read, he's someone people consider a potential future wonder kid. Next player, Mahiro Yoshida. Very cheap, 80p for his limited or £16 for his rare. He is 20 years old, which makes him an under 23 until 2026, and he plays for Jubilo Iwata. Now, Jubilo Iwata, I believe, were relegated last season with Shimizu Pulse. He plays as a right midfielder. Make sure you bear this in mind if they are in a relegated team, that there will be someone for a long-term hold. But if you think they've got potential, you're picking them up at a discount, aren't you? Again, not financial advice, I'm just doing this for fun and education. As you can see, he can put in decisive scores here and here. And he's potentially another one that people talk about as being a very good player for the future in midfield. If you look here, started 5 of 18, averaging 36 minutes per game. But in this time, he did score a goal, and his goal conversion rate is at 11%. He also managed 2 assists despite touching the ball 23 times per average per game. 75% passing, which is what we like to see, and his successful dribbles are on the high side at 75%. He is a tricky little player, let me tell you that. And at 20 years of age, he could be one to see for the future. He's contracted with Jubilo Iwata until 2024. Next player, Haruya Fuji. Haruya Fuji, central defender, someone that's got quite a bit of hype about him for being a good player. As you can see, £15 for his limited, £192 for his rare, and his L40, L15 and L5 are all green, which is what we like to see. As you can see here, he has got a very good all-round game. Very high greens, he even scored 100 up here as well, chipping in with a decisive. I mean, if this guy gets a decisive, it's likely that you're getting a 100 score or a 90 score, because just look at this: 26, 40, 26, 33, 43, 28, 28. Very good all-round scorer. If we look at his stats in more detail, his strengths of ball interception, ground duels and positioning, which makes him perfect for the Sorare scoring index in terms of central defenders. He's a starter, playing 28 of 31, and he averaged 85 minutes per game, getting into the team of the week once. Didn't manage any goals in that time, but he did get an average of 60 touches per game, big chances created 2, and his accurate passing is at 80% per game. The key stats for this guy is his interceptions per game are at 2 and tackles 1 per game at 1.9, and he's also doing the defensive jobs, clearing on average 3.2 times per game. His successful dribbles for a defender are at 75% as well, which is pretty high. And another thing that lends him to the scoring matrix is 64% ground duels won, 66% aerial duels won. A very good option to have, and he will slot straight into your under 23 team or your Asia or all-star team, and he will get you good scores. He plays for Nagoya Grampus, and he's contracted until January this year. So I'll keep an eye on him. I would if I were you, because he could be making a move. He's very sought after, and he's 22 years of age. As you can see, he's still an under 23 until 2025. Next player, Ryo Yamashita. Ryo Yamashita, look at these scores. L40 is at 52, his L15 is at 62, he's a left defender. The only downside is he plays for Shimizu Pulse, who were relegated this season. But look at his scores. Look at his scores there. Very good, high scores. £11 for his limited, 138 for his rare. He's an under 23 until July 2023. So really, he's a long-term hold for your Champs Asia team and All-Star team, in my opinion. He's contracted with Shimizu Pulse until 2024. But look at these scores here. I mean, look at those on the bounce. 6. Incredible. Definitely one you could be picking up at a discount because of his relegation status, in my opinion. If you look at his stats in more detail, played 30 of 33 games, averaging 80 minutes per game. His strengths are ball control, and he was in the team of the week 3 times, scoring 2 goals and getting 7 assists. He averages 57 touches per game, 11 big chances created, 1.7 key passes per game, and a passing accuracy of 81%. He also kept 4 clean sheets, and his successful dribbles are at 67%. His aerial duels are low at 26%, but 63% ground duels won. Very, very good all-round score player, made for the Matrix. Just a shame that he's at Shimizu Pulse, but one for the future, in my opinion. He will get you some rewards. Next player. Now, this guy's got a huge amount of hype around him, and he has done for a couple of years now. Ryotoro Araki. He plays for Kashima Antlers, but he's only contracted until 2023 January. He's limited is £20. He's rare 147. A lot of players and people in J League and Europe talk about this guy as being a wonder kid. A lot of teams in Europe are after him, from what I can see with the research that I've done. He's only 20 years of age. He's a under 23 until 2026. So you can see here he had some problems with injury and fitness this season, so he didn't play many games. But before this, he was absolutely killing it with all these greens and decisives. He's a central attacking midfielder, but can play anywhere along the front line. He's very versatile. If we look at his stats in more detail, we're going to ignore 2022 because he didn't play that often because he was injured. But if you look here, the season before in 2021, started 27 out of 36, averaged 64 minutes per game, and he scored 10 goals. His scoring frequency was at 230 minutes, shots per game 1.6, big chances missed were at 7, but he also creates and scores a lot of goals. Goal conversion rate 18%. He also has a free kick conversion rate of 20%. He scored right-footed goals 8, headed goals 1, left-footed goals 1. He also managed 7 assists. His accurate passing's at 78%, and he's a really good option. I think he is one of the main wonder kids for the future in this league. Don't be surprised if he ends up playing in Europe. Even Goal.com in 2021 did an article on Araki talking about how he is going to be a Japanese J-League wonder kid. He also broke a record for scoring 10 goals as a teenager for Kashima Antlers in the J-League. Very, very good option for the future, in my opinion. Next player, Clariu Matsuki. Another well talked about player. He's only 19 years old, playing for Tokyo FC. He's contracted there until 2025, and he is under 23 until 2027. He's a left and centre midfielder. £20 for his limited, $2.14 for his rare. As you can see, decent scores. He's also got a good all-round game, 37, 20, 26, 34, so he can score decent on the scoring matrix as well. We'll go into it in more detail. We can see he played 28 of 31, averaging 80 minutes per game, scoring 2 goals, assisting 3, with 48 touches on average per game. Big chances created 5 and 1.2 key passes on average per game. 83% passing overall, and his interceptions and tackles are at 1.1 and 1.5. He's also good at dribbling with an average of 70% accuracy, which is very, very good. He's young, 19 years of age, and a very good option for the future in my opinion. Taishi Miyashiro. He's a centre striker playing for Segan Tosu, but he runs out of contract this month, so could be on the move to another team. U23 utility until 2024. On the pricier side at £28 for his limited, £265 for his rare, but he is a starter and he scores goals, as you can see. Quite a lot of decisive scores there, scoring goals, which is like what you want to see for a centre striker. In more detail, we can see he started 18 out of 22, averaging 72 minutes per game, but he scored 8 goals and has a scoring frequency of 197. His goal conversion rate is 22%, and he is both footed, scoring both 4 goals with his right and left foot. A lot of these inside the box, which shows you he's a poacher and he's clinical. Assists 3 in that time. Despite all of this, all these assists and goals, he touched the ball only on average 27 times per game, which just shows you when he's on the ball, he's making stuff happen. For a centre striker, 80% passing accuracy is decent. It's what you want to be looking for. 58% successful dribbles per game as well. Aerial duels low at 32%, which shows you he's not a target man. He is there to score goals with his feet. A good option, Taishi Miyashiro, for the future, 22 years of age. Next player, Sota Kawasaki, £15 for his limited, £170 for his rare, and his L5 is 63. He's a central midfielder and a centre defensive midfielder playing for Kyoto Sanga. Very well sought after. He's also out of contract at the end of this month, and he's an under 23 to 2026, being 21 years old. Again, good scores, can put in good all-round scores, which is what you want to see. If you look here, 38, 26, 32, put in a decisive there as well. Decisives, lots of greens, and 21 years old, could be very good for your under 23 squad. Looking in more detail, 26 of the 28 played, averaging 78 minutes per game. He got into the team of the week twice. He scored 1 goal, assisted 3, and touches the ball on average 47 times per game. 0.7 key passes on average per game, and created 3 big chances. His passing's at 80%. The great thing about him is his interception and tackling game. Tackles 2.5 per game, clearances per game at 1.3, interceptions 2.1. Good for the scoring matrix. His dribbles are on the lower side, as well as his duels, averaging around 50%. But a very good option. Kyoto Sanga, running out of contract, could be on the move as well. I'll try and keep you up to date with that. If you do like the videos, guys, make sure to go and check out my other scouting videos where I did top 5 K-League strikers, and I also did J-League transfers. Got a really good response from him. Next player, Ikuma Sekigawa. Very well sought after as well. Again, running out of contract this month. He plays for Kashima Antlers currently. He's a centre and right defender. He's 22, so you'll get U23 utility until 2025. And he's currently about £12 for limited, £120 for his rare, which is quite cheap considering the scores. Look at these scores. He's capable of putting in high 90s, and he's got a very good all-round game. He's a centre-back beast. 35, 28, 33, 25, 45, 34. Very good all-round scoring matrix player. If we look in more detail, we can see his strengths are ground duels, which is good for the matrix. Started 27 in 32, averaging 75 minutes per game. In this time, he got into the team of the week once, and his touches are 47 on average per game. Big chances created 1, clean sheets 8, which is good for your decisive score of a clean sheet, which is what you want to see. Despite all these high scores, he hasn't got any goals or assists. but what sets him apart from a lot of other players is his duels. 63% aerial duels won, 67% of his ground duels won, which is good for your double doubles and triple doubles on the scoring matrix. 22 years of age, and he's out of contract this month. I think he'll be making a move to another team or getting a new contract because he's a very good player. There's no way he's going to be a sub somewhere, in my opinion. Again, not financial advice, so make sure you do your own research. Only put money into the platform that you're willing to lose, guys. But this is just a bit of fun. Next player, getting through these quick. A player I own personally, Daya Tono. Now, he's only under 23 until July 2023. The J League starts in February, so you will get a couple of months of under 23 utility, but he's a good player to have for the future. He's got a lot of years left in him. Now, I won him as a tier 2 and he was worth around £40. It was in my first ever reward opening video. Go and check it out if you want. Now you can pick him up for £3.22 at limited, £72 at rare. And he is in contract with Kawasaki Frontale for another year. He's a left and central midfielder, but sometimes he also plays higher up as a striker as well. He's a bit all over the place, to be honest. There was a lot more hype around him around this area of his career. I mean, he put in 100 there with a triple decisives there. And then this season, with Kawasaki being quite stacked with talented players, he's been more of a sub-appearance player, but he has put in some decisives when he's come on the pitch. In more detail, we can see his strengths of passing started around half of his games played, averaging 43 minutes per game, but he did break into the team of the week once, scoring 2 goals and assisting 1 goal, despite only touching the ball on average 28 times per game. His passing accuracy is at 84%, and his successful dribbles are at 60%, which indicates he is a good dribbler, trying to take people on and get the ball into the box and make things happen. Really hope he has a better season this season, because I would like to include him in my squads more often. Next player. So the last player isn't under 2023, but I think he's been slept on slightly. Blessing Eleke. He's a Nigerian striker and he plays for Kashima Antlers currently. This guy's been all over the place in terms of his career, playing in the Slovenian League, the Juniper Pro League for Beershot, and he has been scoring a lot of goals. His L5 is at 70 and he's a centre striker. You can pick him up for £13 for his limited and £149 for his rare, which communicates why there's so much hype around him, considering he's not really been getting on the pitch very much. I couldn't find any injury information or any information as to why he's not been playing as much, so if anyone can let me know in the comments, that would be great. But there's a lot of talk in the J League sphere that this guy has got a lot more to give. He's big, he's physical, he will be very physical and hard to stop in that league because he's such a big guy. And if you look here, so as you can see, not in the squad. I can't tell if anyone can let me know why, if it's maybe down to fitness issues or injury, but the last injury I could see was in 2020. But as you can see, he's been in the Turkish League, scoring 7 in 24. He didn't have a great time in the Juniper Pro League, but he's also been in the Swiss League, scoring 13 in 32. And in the Slovenian League, he was also very good, considering the amount of games he played. He had a good goal conversion rate. 197 played, 55 goals, 7 assists, which is a pretty good goal conversion rate. I think he'll be a good option if he can get playing for Kashima Antlers. I think he'll score a lot of goals. I think he'll be hard to stop. So guys, thanks for joining me. I've tried to get through that as quick as I can for you. I'm getting a really good reception from the scouting videos. Please like and subscribe, guys. Thank you for all the support, and I'll catch you next time.